morning I have Cynthia Miller Scott and James Scott here for an interview. Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. We're doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having us on your show.
First of all, I want to say thank you for giving me this time and opportunity to interview you. I want to say thank you for being there for me. I want to acknowledge y'all that because the times and the moments where I was having trials and tribulation, you stepped up there and been there for me with no hesitation. You called me and said, girl, whatever you need, I'm there for you. And that's why I'm here because I didn't realize your story. I didn't understand that. What is the one thing that spiraled in your life out of control?
Well, in 1987, both of my children were victims of a horrific crime. They were viciously raped and sodomized, and my life spiraled out of control. I walked into a bathroom, into the tunnels of addiction, and I stayed there for 23 years. I went to prison, in and out of jail about 17 times. And the last time that I went, my two children who had been victims of this 20 years ago, they approached me and told me it was time to change my life and that I needed to make a different choice, that I had paid my debt already. So that's what I did. When I walked out of the gates this time, I decided to make a different choice.
And where are your children today in their lives?
Today, my son is actually an RN. He works in a trauma center. My daughter actually teaches RNs, and she does a lot of counseling and speaking engagements on young people who have overcame horrific crimes.
Now I look at this amazing store. What does Nickel City mean to the community?
Nickel City is actually my husband. I met my husband in 2014. He's an author, and he's from Buffalo. And so the name of his publishing company is Nickel City. And him and I sat and talked, and we both had the same dream that we wanted to do something in the community that would be able to help the community. So we came up with Nickel City. Nickel City Clothing and Books represents a place where we tag everything in our store to end in 55 cents. That way, we take the 55 cents and we donate that to women who are getting out of prison, who are in sober living homes, children who are abused. We donate that 55 cents and we try to help one woman at a time. So that's what our store represents. So when people spend money at Nickel City, their 5 cents really does count.
And you also help women over 40 that's trying to get back into the workplace or whatever. Now, what do you do with that?
What we do with that is we donate their first interview outfit. So we give them their first interview outfit. They don't have to have any money. And we also have a salon in the back. And the young lady who runs the salon actually has a story of her own. She came to Arizona with literally the clothes on her back and her daughter in a car and a desire to have a beauty shop. So we teamed up with her, and she does hair in the back. So we do them from the head to the toe. We get their hair done. We get them all fixed up. My husband gets them an outfit, and we get them on the road to their first interview because I myself didn't have a real job until I was 48 years old.
Now, I understand y'all are authors. Tell me a little bit about your book that you wrote.
Well, my book is called In Rare Form, and it's a story inside survival. It's not about survival. It's a very triumphant story of exactly what happened to me in my life that caused me to spiral into the tunnels of addiction. Throughout the book, I have poetry that I've written when I was in prison, incarcerated, even when I was under the influence, because I wanted I wanted people to see me in rare form, to see my life in rare form. And so that's the way I wrote my book. And then in the end of the book, the miracle does happen. My husband has to tell you about his own books. He writes mysteries.
Well, I write mystery suspense myself, and crime thrillers as well. My books are generally books that from experience, people that I know, things I've talked about with people, experiences in my own life. I started Nickel City Publication 3 years ago, and groomed it into a company where I give back to the community as well. There are a lot of women that come down here, single women that come down here that have men in prison, mothers, fathers in prisons and things of that nature. So when they come down here and they shop with Nickel City, I also send their loved ones books for free to the prisons, to help them out, give them something to read and let them know where the books came from. I myself have spent a lot of time in prison myself. Throughout my life, I'm 49 now. Throughout my life, I've spent maybe about 20 years in and out of the prisons. I finally made a decision after coming out and doing 8 years. I finally made a decision that I was going to change my life around, and I did that. Nobody really has to go through the things that they go through in life. You know, they just have to have that drive and that initiative to go out and do something different with their lives. And that's what I did. And being that I've been gifted with all this, a wonderful wife, a wonderful store, a wonderful company, a wonderful family, I've been gifted with all this, the only thing I can do is give back. So that's what we do here in Nickel City. We work with the community. When our community works, we work.
And I want to thank the both of you, James and Cynthia Scott. This is a true story of triumph over tragedy. And giving back to the community, that's what it's all about. Thank you so much for having us and coming and joining us on our show.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
very
for
much for
having
having
us.
us.
Hi, we're Cynthia and James Scott. We're the owners of Nickel City Clothing and Books. Nickel City is where your 5 cents count. When you shop in our store, we donate 55 cents from each purchase to sober living homes, homeless women, and battered women's shelter. So if you spend money in our store today, your 5 cents really will count. We try to make sure that we keep our prices low for the community. We don't have anything in our store that costs over $50. So if you're looking for a job, we also help you with interview clothes. We also send books out to prisoners. We're trying to do something in our community. So come down to Nickel City Clothing and Books where your 5 cents will count.